And thank you everybody for joining today. Sorry for the delays on my side. This is SIG API Machinery in Kubernetes open source bi-weekly meeting. Today is August 29, 2026. We are deep into Q3 of this year, and we have a couple of nice topics to go over today. And I have the author of the first one sitting right next to me, Sean. So if you want to...
Sure. Uh-oh.
No, I can mute.
Okay, so I was hoping to bring to the community's attention hopefully starting the clock for deprecating the OpenAPI V2 endpoint. The main reason is that we've got the OpenAPI V3 endpoint, which went GA 10 releases ago, all the way back on 127. And there is a cost for this OpenAPI V2. It's generating this document. The API server generates the Swagger document and keeps it in memory for the entire time. And so, because we have this newer, better version of OpenAPI, I believe we should start the process of deprecating the OpenAPI V2. David or anyone else, is there any comments on this?
I think my only comment would be a preference for how we do it. Deprecation sounds fine. As I recall, it's a year-long process. Also fine. After that year-long process, I would like it if there was a way, or by default, it's no longer there. And if someone needed it, we could put it back. I think that would end up looking like...
Maybe you put this on. Can you...
I think we've modeled it in the past as a feature gate. Does that make sense? Because my concern is that basically everyone thinks, oh, we're fine. And then comes to find out they have a piece of software that has been running. They just never updated. They lost the source code for, uses something old, and they need time to fix it. Does that concern make sense?
It does. So what is your suggestion as far as how we approach the deprecation?
I think we would mark it as deprecated now. No question there. I would be interested in having a way for someone to turn it off and try it. I wonder if that would be a feature gate. Let's set, default serve. And then if you want to try to see if you're compatible, do you go the other way? And then if we did it that way, what I believe that would mean is when we get to the point where we break someone, we could then use the compatibility flag and actually say maybe compatible with, I upgraded to, what would it be at that point? 140, 141. Upgrade to 141, did bad things, put me in compatibility mode 140, and it'll serve again, and I'll be fine to fix it. So just a mechanical preference on building it that way.
Okay, great. Yeah, just for more context, all of kube control has been moved to OpenAPI V3 back on 127, like 10 releases ago. And it actually falls back to OpenAPI V2 if it doesn't find OpenAPI V3. Searching through the rest of the Kubernetes code base, it looks like the only place that uses OpenAPI V2 currently is the discovery client in Client Go. The other clients and the rest of Client Go appears to be updated to OpenAPI V3 again years ago. And looking through some clusters, we see that there are clients that are using OpenAPI V2. I think the most common one was, I think Terraform has OpenAPI V2 endpoint that they're hitting this to get the Swagger document for some of Terraform's functionality. So there definitely are, you're right, clients out there that have hard-coded OpenAPI V2, and we need to kind of reach out to them after the deprecation to try to get them to upgrade. But for the almost all of the Kubernetes code base itself, it appears that it has moved to V3 a long time ago, except for the one exception of the discovery client.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure when you look at those metrics, someone inside Google would say, maybe we shouldn't break Terraform.
Yep.
But
yeah, I mean, we'll be reaching out to them directly to try to get them to move up to the OpenAPI V3.
that sounds good.
Okay. Is that what you needed?
Yep.
Okay. Can I ask you to capture in the notes, the outcome of the discussion and the next step? Thank you. And if technically I can ask you to mute the volume, so okay. So it's a day of technical difficulties because we are in the same room and we are both connected with our computers. So we were echoing and all of that, but yeah, so hopefully, very good. So next topic, I think, Maciek, are you or who is the next one? Hold on, my Windows.
No, that's me.
Yes, okay. Take it over, yeah.
Yep. So this is a bit of I come with zero expectations for this one. It's basically attempting to make the API server and client go optional in terms of protobuffer, and I don't like it. I was just testing the waters to see if the maintainers can say, hey, this is kind of transparent for us and we can accept it, or is this too invasive, I don't want it. Either way, I thought that it doesn't deserve a cap because it's just a couple of toggles. They're not nice. And I just want to get some feedback because of it, like some background context. KCP, excuse me. KCP was the project that was presented by Clayton here a long time ago, basically multi-tenant Kubernetes. I started working on that, and eventually they told me, oh, by the way, we are forking Kubernetes. I said, excuse me, you are doing what? But I started looking at some of the commits, and I see that they are dropping protobuffer entirely because it's mostly a CRD-based API server. There's no pods, there's no deployments. Everything is a CRD. Protobuffer doesn't make much sense. So I decided to give this a try. I might come later with more annoying commits. I pinged Stefan on this particular one. I know Stefan was heavily involved back in the day, Andy as well. But basically, just like I said, I want to test if this is something we can do. I saw that Mo already complained, which is a very fair complaint. Yes, it is in a way, the use case is a little bit questionable. This is really more of a drop-in of commit fork. Yeah.
So I guess I'm not an immediate and flat no, but I want to know a little bit. I want to understand what isn't falling back appropriately and causing issues, because my memory of how we tried to build this is that on reads, we would say, I can accept these multiple things, and we would get back one of those answers, and we would be able to look at the header and know how to decode it. And then on the encoding side, I would have expected to be able to look at the thing that I'm encoding, know whether I can do it via proto or via JSON, and have an automatic selection of the right serialization, and thus not have to set this value. So is something in that path not working? And then are we unable to fix the thing in that path that isn't doing what we expect?
Yep, I think for the loopback client, it just protobuffer is just hard-coded, and there's no toggle for it. I think that's the only supported way right now, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check quickly.
So is it just it is hard coded to proto and not one of this or that? Actually, I guess, Joe, am I completely misremembering how this works? I mean, I thought that I could say I accept either proto or JSON.
That's how I remember it. It should be right in the accept header.
Okay. So, like looking at this change, I'm not in favor of this change, Lubomir, but looking at the problem, I would say I would expect our primitives to be able to accommodate something like this. And I probably would be willing to look at a change that said, you know, for the loopback, I prefer proto, but I also accept JSON. Would you accept that as a reasonable thing to do, Jason or Joe?
Yeah, you can just multiple accepts in priority order, quality.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious why they decided to drop it entirely if you folks are saying that this logic is supposed to exist.
I mean, I suspect it was that code. Some of that code reads a lot like David code, and I suspect if it was past David, it was just everything uses proto, set proto, be finished, and there was just no need to look at it any differently.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, don't assume it's by design. It could just have fallen out that way and nobody noticed, and you're the first person to run into it. As long as we're doing stuff that complies with the way our protocols are supposed to work, I'm happy to see it fixed.
But I'm not so happy to add a flag, if that makes sense. Like I don't want a flag to control this.
One of the comments is saying that since not every generic API server has to support protobuffers, and then yes, but then we also hard code the content type, I guess. Yeah, but you're saying that somewhere in the code path there's supposed to be a decision maker. From what I understand, it seems to me that it's always protobuffer for the loopback client.
I suspect it's hard coded to that, but as I recall the way the accept headers worked, we allowed setting multiple and the order matter? There was a preference, like when you set it, you could like, I want this one, if not that, then this one. And I would expect a path like that here.
I see. Okay, what about client Go and CodeGen? That's environment variables, but it's still not so nice, I would say. I mean, CodeGen already supports the flag for optional protobuffer, but the client Go path is also hard-coded to protobuf. Unless you specify the content type explicitly every time.
I probably not. Like, so if I remember where we have a preferring protobuf, it is in our generated clients.
Yep.
Those endpoints should absolutely be serialized using protobuf, right? So even in a world where you have a CRD-based Kube API server, I would fully expect that a namespace, for instance, would be encoded using proto and read using proto, because that would be a serialization that everyone recognizes. That is sort of the Kube standard. We know exactly what that proto is versus a CRD where you actually don't know what that proto is ahead of time. Does that distinction make sense? Basically, I think client Go is behaving correctly.
Yeah, it's just from my understanding, KCP just simply does not, they don't really generate the clients at all. They just want JSON everywhere. That's the aspect of the fork, I guess. This forked commit specifically drops, like I said, the loopback client, protobuf, and also this specific value for the customizable environment variable that is added for client Go.
I'm not in favor of that environment variable, right?
Yeah.
I think that it is appropriate to prefer proto for those types that have a definitive proto encoding.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the core clients with the core client set.
Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. I like I said, I did not have high expectations for this. It's just I want to understand.
Okay. I mean, I would hope that you would then be able to use, if you get the multiple accept header working, you'd be able to use a loopback client for the majority of types. And then it seems as though KCP, if that project desires to eliminate the fork, could learn to serve the core types using a proto encoding, since it has a proto encoding for them. So I can understand this isn't like making it an easy drop-in for you, but I don't think it actually blocks the future progression of like eliminating a patch. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it will eliminate the patch if eventually KCP starts using protobuffer for the core types. That's
Yeah.
I wanted to hear what Stefan wants to say, because I think he's the patch owner. He created that patch specifically. Yeah, but that's a way forward. It also, I guess, it will gain some performance boost because of proto. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. I will take it, and I can close this PR and inform the people who I show that I have a PR for this already. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lubomir, can I ask you to capture the outcome of the discussion in the notes for posterity?
Absolutely, I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then we have a last item here. Aditya, are you on the call?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, sorry for adding this in last moment. So this is a one PR I worked on. This is my first PR in Kubernetes. So I will just give you a little context. So right now, Kubernetes Informer catches back by thread safe store, which holds all object as a live Go values. So for typed resources like core.pod, this is fine generated structures, which is compact. But for like in case of CRD based controller, it's always unstructured, which is very bulky in nature because it's a map of string with any type. So the PR is just adding one, changing this unstructured to a CBOR type object representation. So the benefit will be that the cache memory size will be reduced significantly. And what I have observed for a very small test instance, I have seen a decrease of 74% of memory usage. So just wanted to get your opinion on this PR.
So if I did a quick skim on this PR. I had not seen it before this meeting. If I'm understanding correctly, this is just a direct trade-off of memory for CPU, right? Because we would have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so what I've observed that there is an increase of 11% of CPU usage with significant reduction, around 74% reduction of memory. So yeah, that's one trade-off, but I feel that it's makes sense to me.
So I am a hard no until CBOR reaches GA. I think I want, and the reason for that is you're using the same library, but that library has not yet been shown to be fully stable. And I know that Ben Luddy is fixing at least one more thing in that library, or was as of 2 months ago. So I'm unwilling to shift that until we know it to be stable.
Or will you be willing to explore like others also? Because I tried with some others also like JSON and message pack, but the memory reduction was not much significant. That's why I didn't choose JSON for JSON specifically. I remember the memory saved was 70%, but the CPU usage was around 17% more. That's why I didn't choose JSON. So if that's a problem with CPU, then will it be okay to use other?
Maybe I don't have an immediate opinion on. Michael, I saw your hand go up when I said I want to see CBOR be stable before we use this.
So I'm not as concerned with like the stability of this, but more along the trade-off between memory and CPU usage. The store that we use here is mostly for the informer caches. And those have been things that we've been doing a lot of work in terms of optimizing like how fast it can actually read from the API server. So if this increases the amount of time it takes to write to the store, I think that would have some pretty serious performance considerations. So I'd like to see some benchmarks or something along those lines to show that we're not seeing a huge performance downgrade because of this. Because I think, if I remember correctly, like this was directly in line with basically the HTTP watch cache buffers completely filling up and then it's severing like watch connections, which could lead to like a whole storm of issues.
I find that
there is a little latency. Sorry, for the test that I have put the benchmark in the PR. What I observed that there for debugging the code, there was a total 18 microseconds of latency was there, which usually takes 4 nanoseconds in the whole decode process of, and there was the size of that was 18 MB, which was around 3000 pod data was there. But I can work on more on benchmarks and prepare a good proposal with a lot of benchmark data.
I think you would also be so I will say my comments about CBOR still stand unless someone wants to argue that a serializer we lack confidence in using for the QAPI server is good for us to use on all the clients. And I doubt we would do that. If you also found a way to segregate this so that it didn't impact things that were not unstructured, that might make it seem less impactful as well. Because I'm sure that anyone who's dealing with, say, a cache of pods really doesn't want this touched. I don't know if Michael has a benchmark level in mind. Probably wouldn't commit to it on this call, but I see CBOR as probably the best encoding I've heard of so far. Maybe there's another one I don't know of. But still having issues, as I recall it, preserving types. So we can't use it here. Yeah.
I think Joe has.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just also going to agree. I think CBOR is going to be a good protocol for a lot of things. And once it's ready, I want to start using it, but I want to order that correctly. And I don't think we would go to another alternative, right? It's been a lot of work to get Proto and JSON and CBOR to where they are. And we got JSON V2 coming right up. So there's a lot happening in that space. Adding more wouldn't be the answer. So I think the answer is just to wait and help get it progressed if you want it to happen faster.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will progress once the progress has been done from that side.
Yeah, you might want to contact Ben Luddy. I'll spell his name out in the chat. See if he needs help or would have a task that you could help him achieve on the path to getting CBOR stable. As I recall it, actually, Joe found a correctness problem with embedded objects, which is very important for what you're doing here.
Yeah, it turns out that it's really hard to build these protocols because Kubernetes has a lot of very specific behaviors that you have to account for. So yeah, it's tricky. We want to get it right, but I think the right answer is just to help Ben Luddy. If you want that to move faster, help him with tasks he needs help with, and we can get CBOR to a good state.
Okay, thank you. I will do that. That's helpful a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. And sounds like you got good guidance for the next steps. Very good. If you can capture, briefly, what are the next steps in the notes, in the agenda, that would be great.
Yeah, I will do.
Appreciate that. And I think with that, we reach the end of our topics today. Is anything else that we should be discussing? Otherwise, we can dismiss and go back to our busy lives. I think we are good. Okay. It was actually a great meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and hope to see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good Wednesday and rest of the week. Bye-bye.